Welcome to another episode of the Sipping and Tripping podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's conversation is all about healing mentally and spiritually. I'm your host, Desmond Black, and the person that's sipping and tripping with me today is a book author. She enjoys nature and adventuring with family and is a mentor for misfits. She's the creator of Healing Curious Humans movement. She's a natural teacher, speaker, and community activator. And with a storied background in media sales and marketing and mental health advocacy, she brings both edge and empathy to everything she does. She is none other than Miss Natalie Peterson. How are
Woo!
you doing today? And how's your week so far?
Oh, I am doing excellent. Thank you for that introduction. And the week is rolling. It's Tuesday and fall has hit here in Colorado. So
Okay.
yeah, it's good. It's all good.
Uh, any flooding or anything out there?
You know what? In my so I'm north of Denver, about 45 minutes, and actually in my hometown down in Southwest Colorado, they've got some pretty crazy flooding going on over the last few days. There is a lot of water dropping down there. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was
So go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. No, it was a trip to see just the pictures of the water that's flowing through there is outrageous. It's yeah, it's deep.
Yeah. Same thing here. I'm in New Jersey. I was a little disappointed though because my son he plays Pot Warner football and his game's on Sundays, and his game was canceled this week because it's supposed to have been a flood and a storm. Now, a lot of parts of Jersey wasn't greatly affected, but not really us per se. And so I was a little disappointed, but I get it. It's health first and all that. Got to take precautions. They did issue a what you call it? Not a state of emergency. They did
Yeah.
issue that. So I guess that comes first. But it was just disappointing because every week I look forward to it, and I asked if we're gonna do like a makeup game, and they're not sure because everything was in order. The playoffs supposed to start, so now we might be short 2 games instead of one game. We might be short 2 games.
Oh no.
Um, so I know this week on Thursday, my son and his team supposed to play in Giant Stadium. So
What?
that should be so that should be exciting.
That's totally
Uh,
exciting. That's like next
yeah,
level playing Pop Warner football.
yeah, and I definitely got to record that so I can have that in the archives. So when he get older, that's gonna be something to hold on to and to cherish. So,
For sure.
um, but yeah, like I said, like a lot of places, because I live close to like Atlantic City, Long Beach Island, Seaside Heights, Cape May County, where Wildwood, and a lot of those places they got flooded where like cars are swimming in the water, and you open your door now, your house is getting flooded. So I guess it was bad in some areas, but it is what it is.
It
And
is.
also I was disappointed. I had two big food truck events I was supposed to had did, and they also got canceled because of the storm. So that sucks. But it is what it is. It's called life.
Yeah.
Um, Now, on my platform, I like to conversate, educate, and entertain, and I have no concerns and no worries that we'll reach that. So, without further ado, um, you're nearly 8 years sober. Can you tell us a little bit about that
Heck yeah,
and what
yeah.
and what led
Uh,
you to alcohol and stuff like that?
yeah, for sure. My upbringing was absolutely fantastic. I didn't have alcohol or any type of drug in my house for many, many years, for most of my young life. But I'll tell you, I remember the day that I came home junior year in high school, and I opened the fridge, and there was a 6 pack of Coors Light,
Mm.
and one of them was missing. And I was so confused. I had never seen alcohol in the house. I had never had seen my parents. One time I had, or maybe twice, I had seen my parents, once at a wedding and once at a Thanksgiving, where it was like, whoa, mom and dad had a drink, you know?
Right.
But from that moment, junior year in high school, it was a fast and furious descent into what I know now was alcoholism that had run in my family and has run in my family for generations. So it was a quick descent into total chaos, to be frank. For 5 years of just mayhem. I managed to graduate high school, and then I just took off. I was like, "This is bananas. I don't want anything to do with this." I'd come home and try and patch things up, and then I'd leave as quick as I could because it was just getting worse. Um, Unfortunately, my father ended up taking his own life at I was 22, he was 43, and
Mm.
that was a big part of my own really dance with addiction, not only with alcohol and drugs, but also just with performance and perfectionism. And as hard as I could, just gas pedal down, like as hard as I could, just running and trying to succeed, right? Just climb the ladder, do the things, don't worry about who you are. And I did a fantastic job of partying my ass off for most of my adult life
Right.
until um, I finally just I realized in some pretty dark nights of my soul that I was going to end up hurting myself. I was going to end up hurting somebody else. And most of all, I was going to end up doing something awful to my son, whether that was leaving him without a mom in some form or way, or, it got to a point where it was time to quit. So, like I did everything in my life, I just stopped drinking. I made up my mind, and that was it. I took my last drink. And what I know now is that I did a damn good job of quitting, but I didn't do diddly squat about why I was doing all the drinking, why I was numbing and completely disassociating myself from my body and my mind and my spirit. And so I was air quotes sober for a few years, and 2.5 years, and then truly hit, I think, what people know as rock bottom. And that was when I got serious about what were all of the root what was the root cause, all of the root causes, what were the threads in my life, all the way back from childhood and even before and generations before. Why was I insisting on going so hard and numbing myself to the degree that I was? And so for the last many years, I have dug into who I am and who I want to be in this world, and have worked my ass off to get in alignment with my spirit and my source. And alcohol has zero place in the grand scheme of my life. I have a beautifully um, sober life, existence with my son and with my partner, um, and am now in a place of just mental and spiritual ease, I'd like to say, where um, I don't need, gosh, there's definitely days where I'd love to shut it all off. Um, but sitting and being able to know exactly what I'm feeling and deal with it in real time is a blessing that I'd never turn back in. Yeah. So.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, okay. So, how has the journey to recovery been for you?
There are people that are, I don't know that they will give the truth. It's hard as hell. Recovery is hard as hell. It's
Mm,
ugly. There are places of immense darkness that you don't know if you're going to get through. It's a
mm,
slog. Um, it's also, in our shadows and in the dark, dark spaces that we that we have to go in recovery, where we have to go to figure out who we are. We have to go into the tragedies and the traumas and the deep, dark thoughts. We have to. That's
Right.
where the answers are. That's where the gold is, right? And so recovery has been, it's a roller coaster ride, really, really, really high highs of triumph, and making milestones, but also, I mean, those highs are as high as they are because of the other side of it, right? Becoming
Right.
from such a low. It's like we understand that from the pits, I can look up and see as high as I can go. And I have to get to that. I have to do both in recovery. There's just no
Right.
ifs, ands, or buts about it. So,
Got you. Okay. Well, look, I commend you. I mean, I used to drink. I don't drink anymore. I'm not gonna say that it was a problem for me, but I mean, it has caused some minor issues. That's part of the reason why I don't drink. Um, you know, also I take everything I do seriously. So when I was doing the podcast, I know the first season, the first couple episodes, yeah, the longer it went on, the more I drank, and then my words were slurring. So I noticed, you know, once I stopped drinking, I enunciated my words better, and everything came out so much cleaner, and
mhm,
I appeared to be more professional. And that's all. That's the end goal, right? You wanna treat your business professionally, and I got a lot more feedback or better feedback since I laid off the alcohol. So,
mhm,
and just health reasons, I feel a lot better as well. Alcohol, it bogs your body down. It drains you. Like, you could be wide awake and you start drinking and it makes you real fatigued. It makes you dehydrated. So, health wise, I feel a lot better. My podcast and everything else, everything is just congruent and more fluent now. So I don't drink now. It feels good, and I didn't think that I could do it because in the beginning, it was very hard. It was a struggle, But here I am. It's been since, I want to say, April.
nice.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
So
that's excellent. Yeah.
kudos to you. I give myself a pat on the back as well.
No, I give you
Um,
many pats on the back. You said a word that means a lot to me, congruence. And to me, when my insides match my outsides, and I am presenting to you who I am in the real, right? There's
right,
nothing in between you and me right now. There's no liquid, there's no nothing. That to me is, I've taken as many of the masks away that I can to give you the real me. Does it mean that I don't have things going on in my mind that I'm not going to reveal to you? Yeah, of course. But in as much as I can show up in my true spirit and be congruent, and that's my goal, is to show up in full spirit, and to be able to tell you, I say what I mean what I say, and there's no bullshit between, between what we're saying and what we're meaning. It's such a relief to visit with people in that form, in that frame of mind. So
gotcha. Okay, I got you, got you. So, do you have your own podcast?
I do. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, what's it called, and where can we find it?
It's called Think Out Loud with Me,
Okay,
and it's on every major directory. Yep. I have been doing it. Actually, it was my own effort at it when I mentioned that rock bottom that I had, the sober rock bottom. It was my effort. My podcast was me getting on the microphone and in my basement and saying, I'm done talking to myself about mental
right,
health and spiritual health. I'm done asking my own self my questions. These voices in my head will have a conversation ad nauseum till the end of time. We will get nowhere. It's this kind of interaction, meeting people, exchanging ideas, being curious about health, being curious about our spirituality and the way that our minds work. That's what got me up and out. So Think Out Loud with Me is my own effort, like you, to put as many faces in front of me as I can that help me curate just an even more fantastic life in
right.
conversation and community. Yeah. So I love it.
And I love how you said, about the whole connection piece, right? Because, I said this time and time again, like when I first started this platform, it was supposed to be my gateway to um my food truck business that I'm trying to get started, right? I was like, if I can attract an audience, well, I have to attract the audience, right? To a following, for lack of better words. So once I get it up and running, then whoever follows me here will follow me there as well. But once I started doing it, it's became therapeutic for me. And I treat this podcast as like therapy, right? It's like speaking to a therapist, going to a counseling session, and it's all about connecting with people, right? I like thought-provoking conversations, and being able to converse with other people means a lot to me because I don't get out much. So this is me interacting with the world,
Yep.
and it's good. I've built a lot of strong relationships with people doing this podcast, and it's amazing. I mean, I have people that no matter what feelings I'm going through, they're there. I can call, right, and
Yep.
that's crazy. I never in a million years would I have thought I would get that doing this. But I can reach out to several people when I'm down and out, when I'm depressed, when I'm sad, when I'm happy, and just call them, and they're there. And the
Yeah.
conversation is so fluent. We talked about the word congruent. Everything is like congruent. It's cohesive, right? And it's like it flows. Sometimes I'm on the phone for 2 hours, and it feels like I was on the phone for 15 minutes. And that's
Yeah.
powerful. And
Yeah.
I tell people that, and that's a bond. That's chemistry, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
I
I
think
like I
that
like how you. Go ahead.
I like that you bring up the community and the connection. And I think that one thing that came out of COVID was this, right?
Mm,
This beautiful ability to New Jersey to Colorado. We are
hmm.
like, who would have ever thought that we could get on and just shoot the right? Like
Right.
two random strangers that can come together and click and connect and talk about life. And I think that, in today's day and age, with everything that tries to distract us and pull us away from connection, that
Mhm.
wants to isolate and it wants to divide us, that it's things like podcasts and these kind of community collaborations that keep us absolutely connected.
Yeah.
Yes.
It goes a long way. It really does. A lot of people don't know that, and I've had people that said they shy and I don't think the podcast is for me. And I had them on as a guest, and then they text me later, or they said it during the show and said, you know what? I'm having a lot of fun. This is fun,
Yep.
and I have people come back, and like I said, I'm able to text them, call them, be on the phone with them. It means a lot. Um, so let me ask you this: where were you born and where did you grow up?
Oh, goodness. I was born in Durango, Colorado, which is Southwest Colorado, the Four Corners area, where you can put a hand, and you can put one hand in Colorado, one hand in Utah, 1 foot in New Mexico, and 1 foot in Arizona.
Right, right.
And you can be four places at once. Um, I grew up there outside of Durango in a tiny little one flashing light town called Bayfield. There were 2,000 people in my town at the time. I had 41 other people in my class. So go class of 1993. We were mighty. Um, we uh, we were just a small town family that I grew up on the river, and I grew up in the mountains. I like to say that my family was feral. We ran around. Um, we were fishing and hunting and camping and adventuring, and just I grew up in the outdoors. And I then, when I left, I came up north of Denver to Colorado State University, not to be confused with CU. Very different. We are not the Buffs. We are the Rams. I don't watch football anymore, but that is a distinction that I like to make.
Got you.
Um, and then after graduation from college, I ended up getting transferred out to Los Angeles with my first job, and I ended up in the South Bay, El Segundo, Manhattan Beach area for 17 years. I was out in Southern California, yeah, and then about 10 years ago, returned back here to Colorado. So,
Okay.
yeah. So,
So, all right. So, how's life in Colorado? Like, what is there to do, and what is your overall census of the state of Colorado?
mm, what is there to do? Depending on the season, there is no end. We've got, I live at the gateway to the Rocky Mountain National Park. So within a half hour's drive, I can be like 8,000, 9,000 feet and in the snow and with wildlife like you would not believe. I've watched massive animals use the crosswalk in Estes Park as they have the elk come down and do their thing. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of the elk in Estes Park, but it is a real thing. They take over, hundreds of them take over the town. And there's always dumb tourists that end up getting themselves hurt and in the mix.
Right.
But so the outdoors are where you will have the most fun in Colorado, biking and hiking and just in the winter months. I'm not so much a winter girl anymore, but I grew up skiing and just playing in the snow. Today I'll shovel it and then I'm back inside. But Denver is a beautiful city with loads to do from, sports and arts and entertainment, culture, the scene in downtown and then different necks of the woods around the Denver metro area are fantastic. And yeah, the humans around here it's diverse. It's also, it can be a little nutty depending on where you find yourself.
Right.
We're just shy of Wyoming, where there's more cows and sheep than people. So you've got all sorts of humans running around Colorado, but it's a good spot.
I love how you keep saying humans, the people, but it's hilarious. Okay, so I mentioned that you was a book author. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, writing has saved my life in many ways. Finding an outlet for just like my podcast, finding an outlet for all the crazy that goes on in my brain. It has been an enormous journey. I just published just a week ago today. We hit Amazon with a book called Stories, Tools, and Community for Healing Curious Humans. That's where I get I say humans all the time. And the book has been just an absolute blast to publish. We hit #1 in multiple categories, which was thrilling. We were right up there at the top with the little #1 bestseller tag on Amazon, which was really cool. We were screenshotting and making sure we captured it. Like you said, like this one's going in the books, right?
Right.
But the book is an expert collaboration. It's 20 of us that came together with really powerful, brave stories of not only pain and tragedy and trauma, but also just beauty. And then each author brought a tool. Whether that was, for me, it's all about being curious and about writing and asking questions. For some people, it's Reiki and Qigong and sound bathing. For other folks, it's different types of artistic expression. And then we came together with 20 chapters of just incredible writing, and it's been wonderfully received. And yeah, I'm just kind of riding the high of reading reviews and hearing people that are reading it.
Right.
It's a powerful book. It's not a light read by any means, but it's definitely meant to be a torch for folks who may be in their own maybe messy middle, right? They're messy part of their own journey. And back to what we were talking about, the idea of community, that we are in this world with other humans, that we're not meant to do this all by ourselves. We just aren't. We've been raised to be fiercely independent and stand on our own 2 feet and, make sure that you can do it on your own. And I push back on that with yes, and make sure you know who you can call, and make sure you know that you can extend your hand and reach out to find someone and ask for help.
Got it. Now, I love when I get book authors on this platform. I really do, because I'm currently writing my first book to be published. It's my autobiography, so I'm almost at 10 complete chapters out of 16. So yeah, that's exciting. I got to get back to it because I haven't written a page in like a month. But I'll get back to it today. I'll write a little something today. I promised myself I was going to do this yesterday, but I just ran out of time. But so yeah, that's very exciting. And I it's crazy. I spoke to a lot of big publishing houses, and I did not realize how much money it is to get your book published to a big house. So I'm going to do the self-publishing at first. And since it's my first book and it's my baby, it's about me, it's my life, I will get it through a publishing house, but that'll be down the road because I gotta save that money. And if I don't do it, if I don't write another book, at least I'll have that, right? That's gonna be one of the biggest accomplishments in my life, just to get that out there, with my picture on it, had the reviews. And like you said, you chase the reviews, you screenshot it. And I just can't wait to share that space with you and other authors. And, I have this other one that I wrote like an outline for. It's a romance novel, but that's secondary. I'm not putting like 100% into that yet. Because right now, I got, you got to peel back the layers. You got to crawl before you walk. So right now, getting the autobiography out there, and then already got the outline and synopsis for this romance novel.
Wow.
And so that's going to be good.
Yeah. So, well, I encourage you to just continue, because you mentioned your son, and like there's a legacy in writing, right? There's a legacy that you leave behind that is a beautiful thing. Also, just a fulfillment of your own dreams, to be able to say that you did it. So yeah, don't stop. The fact that you're 10 of 16, you're so close. You're so close.
I know. That's why I got mad at myself when it's been like a month since I wrote a page. I was just thinking about this the other day. I said, dang, like I will be. So my original deadline was supposed to have been this month on the 20th.
Oh, really?
Right. If I wrote it how I said I was going to write, because I like to compartmentalize, a lot of things. So in my mind, because at first I was like, oh, this is overwhelming. Like, am I going to be able to do it? Will I be successful? How many pages? What's a good book title? How do I know if it's too much or not enough?
Right,
so that's what I was going through. So now I say, you know what? Let me just breathe, take a step back, and come up with a game plan. So my game plan was supposed to be, if I focus on just only writing 2 pages a day, right, and about a chapter a week, that's feasible. That's I can do that. So I'm like, all right, 2 pages a day, cool. But I found myself in the beginning doing more than that. Like I was writing like a chapter in 2 days or 3 days. So then I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, I'm ahead of schedule, so it's okay for me not to work on it tomorrow. So now I found myself falling behind. So then I was like, all right, shut myself away from the world. I gotta get to my writing, and I was doing that. And then somewhere along the lines, I don't want to say it fell to the wayside, but so in the beginning I was going in order, right? And then I was like, oh, I got an idea that I want in this chapter. So I was jumping from chapter to chapter, and I think that's where I got lost. Because when I say I almost got 10, I only got 4 that's complete. complete.
Yeah.
Then I got 6 that's almost complete.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what tripped me up. Because I'm like, oh, I got if I could spend like an hour on each of these chapters, I can have them done.
Yeah.
An hour of just uninterrupted, I can get it done.
Well, you have made more. You have done more towards writing than the majority of the world. So I would, just encourage you. Don't stop. Don't
I'm definitely not. I need this out there. Like you said, it's about a legacy, and it's about that feeling, that accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
I'm a person that needs to feel like that accomplishment. I need to feel like I'm doing something. I have a purpose, and so I'm not going to stop. So, like I said, I'll get back to that. Hopefully later on today I can write a little bit, because that's all it takes is one day just to get back into it, and it's an addiction. Just like you get tattoos or anything else, is an addiction, and then you just keep going. You keep on, keep going.
Yep.
So, okay, so where can we find some of your books at? You mentioned
Uh,
Amazon.
I mentioned Amazon, yep, and now that it's in published form and out, we'll be shopping it to it's on Goodreads and other places. But now I can take it out to local bookshops, and I've got authors all over North America, 2 up in Canada, and coast to coast, and so we are all just kind of infiltrating our local markets and looking for places to make sure that we can get it on the shelf. So to be determined. TBD. I'll let you know.
Gotcha. And I know you sent me one of your books.
Yes, I sent you. Which one did I send you? I can't remember.
Just one
Sacred
second.
Rebel. I think I sent you Sacred Rebel.
Let me check, because that don't ring a bell. Let me check real quick. Because I thought it was something with healing in the title.
Yeah, I think it was Healing Curious Humans. Then it was this recent one that I sent
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
Healing Curious Humans. Yeah, that's the one
yeah,
you sent me.
yeah.
Okay, so we mentioned that you are a mentor for Misfits. Can you elaborate on that?
I cannot stand templates. I can't stand boxes and check marks and making sure that I follow the rules. I get really itchy when I am told that things need to be in a certain, done in a certain way. I've been that way all of my life. I've done a damn good job of fitting into boxes in corporate America, and dressing the part and doing the things and all of that. It wasn't until I broke free of all that and said, you know what, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to be the
Right.
crazy, communicating, curious woman that I am, and I'm going to do it the way that I want to and find my peace of mind in a way that nobody can template. And so, in my own journeys, just like a lot of things that happen, you end up, as you heal yourself, you're able to inspire and influence other people. And so I have developed an effort to engage folks that feel like, again, templates are not for them, but they're looking for that congruence. They're looking for that their insides to match their outsides. And so I work with folks to just dig into mental and spiritual health, and look for the places where we can perhaps sit in some of the messy and figure out what the yummy is. And whether that's in a one-on-one mentorship or in group settings. Yeah, I tend to collect those folks who are the outliers, if you will. We're the ones that are off having coffee, while the other people are in the bar hooping it up to whatever. We're off, doing our own little thing off to the side. So.
Yeah, I would imagine that there's a balance there. I think it's just as many people that's drinking coffee and doing things as constructive as the people that's in bars and clubbing and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
mean, that's where it should be a little balance there.
Don't get me
So
wrong. I can dance, and I will. And just because I don't drink doesn't mean I can't get up on a table and just like impress the hell out of you with my look at your face.
on the table, you dancing. Oh my Lord. Are we sober?
People are like, "Are you sure you're sober?"
I
That's
mean,
when life is fun. Life is fun, right? You
no,
don't
you're
need
right.
drinking.
You're right. And that's a lot of us, we need to like get back to having fun and enjoying life, because a lot of people,
Hell yeah.
we get too caught up in how we're going to be perceived, to the point where we put ourselves in. You say you don't like boxes. We put ourselves in a box where we can't live free or comfortably because we're so worried about how this person is going to view us. You
Yep.
know, so that's one thing I learned throughout the years is not caring about what other people say. Right? I got to live for me, because everything in life starts with self. You know,
Yep.
so if I feel good, if I'm happy, I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm not going to care if this person say, oh, that sucked, that's shitty, that's lame. I don't care, because you ain't going to like it. It's things that you do that I don't like, you know, and that's the way life is made. Right? It's supposed to. It was designed that way. We're not supposed to be the same. We're not supposed to like the same things. So we got to live for us. We got to live carefree and just enjoy life.
Yeah.
Be happy.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. I totally
so
agree.
do you have any siblings?
I have a younger brother. I used to call him my little brother, but he's not so little. I adore him. I absolutely adore my younger brother. I just actually had a really long and delicious conversation with him on Sunday. We're close, and I have a lot of respect for my brother. Yeah, he's a
That's
good
good.
man. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, you know, family is very, I say this all the time, family is very important when they're active and present in your life. You
Yeah.
know, it's when they're not that it leads to mental health issues, which we'll get into. It leads to all kinds of other things, you know, like trauma and all that. Again, we'll get to that. But, you know, when family are there for you, family is everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
One thing I like to do on social media, like I like to pose a question of the day. And today's question of the day was, is blood thicker than water, or do you feel like you can forge a stronger bond with somebody that's non-related? That was my question of the day. Because a lot of people would say no, but I beg to differ, because sometimes I feel like blood don't make you family, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just because you're bounded by blood, right?
Yep.
You tied by blood, but
Mhm.
family, it's a bigger picture here. Like family should be about everything. You support and everything. So hey, it's a lot of people that do more for you than your actual family would, and those are the people you got to hold near and dear, and you got to value them. You know,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
that's just my
I would
opinion on that.
I would tend to agree with you. I think that that blood can create obligation that is
Mm.
often not healthy, and we allow our own value sets to be compromised just
Mm.
because someone is, our relative, whether it's close or many times removed. And there's times when we compromise, like what it means to be treated in a healthy way. Um, and we put up with stuff. And so I would tend to agree with you that the folks that, relationships are, and family and connection can be forged in, through experience. That, the things that I've shared with, we're not necessarily related, but they are my people forever. Um,
Mhm.
because of what they've witnessed, because of what they've helped me um, get through, what I've helped them get through, the life that we've led together that can't be replaced. Yeah, that's not something I'm willing to give up very easily. So I would be in your camp probably faster than blood being thicker. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So, what do you do for a living?
Well, I do a ton of things besides being an author and a podcaster. I'm a communications professional. So I have, like you mentioned in my intro, I've worked in marketing and media and advertising and sales and business development my entire career. I am so I've worked on everything from campaigns locally to big things nationally, and have been a consultant on many different projects. And yeah, I love communication. It's a part of it. I live and breathe what it means to communicate. So I would say that's what I do for a living. But life mostly for me is about being a mom and being a partner to my wonderful man that I absolutely adore. My son is the he's the bright light in my life, and I love. He's a runner. My 16-year-old. He's an active runner, and there's nothing more exciting for me than to be outside cheering him on and just screaming at the top of my lungs, witnessing him being his best self. So
And that's how I feel about my son playing football,
yeah.
It's just, like I record his games and, recording it, I can't really focus on the game in person as I would want to. But when I come home and I put it on the big screen, that's when that I get that rush, that little adrenaline rush. And I keep track of his stats, right? That's something we do together. And, I tell him all the time, I might say, for every tackle, it's $10, right? If you score a touchdown, it's $20, something like that. So a lot of people's like, how are you not broke? I'm like, so I know last year at one game he was up to like 300 and something. I was like, all right, yeah, now you got to calm down. He says, I thought you wanted me to do good. I'm like, oh, I do, but before I offered money, before money was brought into the picture, you should have been doing these things. It shouldn't take money to entice you, but just like the rest of the world, we love money, so he do
That's
good.
awesome.
So now he made this deal. He says, if I get 3 touchdowns in the game, I need a PS5. And in one game, he had 2 touchdowns. And then like the following game, he had 2 touchdowns. So he was real disappointed and hard on himself because he really wanted that PS5. And that's one thing I do. One thing I took from my father, to this day, my father never promised me and my brother anything in life and never came through. That's one thing I do with my kids. If I promise you it, I'm gonna give it to you. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm careful about what I say to my kids. Mm-hmm. I'll see what I can do, or if you earn it, then come back and we can talk about it. But if I physically say I promise you, they got to get it right. Yeah. I don't care if it means that I'm gonna be in a bind. I promised them something and I'm gonna give it to them, and that's something I took from my father, man. And a lot of families, just to pacify them, just to get their way, they'll promise them a whole bunch of stuff just so they can be like, okay, and they'll conform, and then they never get it. But from personal experience, right? Like I gotta tell you one thing: when we talk about mental health and things of that nature, when you promise kids and you don't come through, it do fuck with their psyche a little bit, They I don't know, they start to feel like, oh, why don't you care, or this. It's a lot of things they can do to a kid. So I would never promise my kids something and not come through. Never.
Yeah. Well, and that was paramount in my getting to a point of sobriety, was to tell my son that no, I'm done, and that is my word. And that's my word to the most precious human to me in the world. And I'm not, they say you can't quit for other folks. And I agree. I quit for myself first, but I quit so that I can keep my word to my son and to myself. So I fully agree with you. Yeah. That's what I got is my word.
Gotcha. Now, are you religious?
I'm not. No, I grew up I'm very spiritual, but I don't practice any one religion. I've studied the heck out of religions, out of just really very interested in the weaving of all of the different stories. We are all more alike than we realize. And so spirituality to me, I find more readily in my studies and being out in nature. I'd say that the outdoors is my church first and foremost. Yeah. Talking to birds and having conversations with ant piles and yeah, just the wonder of the world is all around me. So yeah,
I got you. And that, and that's a good segue to the question the next question I was going to ask. I was going to ask you, by your definition, what is spiritual health?
Spiritual health is your connection to your, in some, it's your chi, it's your spirit, it's your source. It's some people call it God, some people call it Buddha, some people, my spirit is the driving, it's 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 the essence of me that is tied into this beautiful universe that every single one of us share. It's my vibration. It's my essence, right? Desmond Black has an essence that is only his. There is
Right.
no other there is no other spirit like Desmond Black, and the health of that spirit, the clarity and the connection that you have with that force that makes you you, is paramount to your health. It's when it gets muddied and confused and it drowns itself in distractions, whether that's addiction or other people's expectations. That's when we're not healthy spiritually. When I can find alignment with who I am and that congruence, and when I can show up with my spirit in full force, um, that is that's healthy to me. Um, that's Natalie, just in her best self. So
Okay. So, all right, is spirituality a branch of religion, or can one exist without the other?
I think that religion is the effort to box spirituality and create a box around it, and create access points to
Mm,
spirituality with rules and dogma. I think that spirituality is the basis of all that we do. It's our connection to the universe without human intervention, without human uh, without humans being, messying it up. It's always there. Religion can go away. There
mm.
but spirituality is the underlying force of everything that we do. It is our vibration, it's our energy, it is spirit, that connects you and me, and allows you and me to talk. You can be of a different religion completely, right? And I can be of a non-religion, and we can still connect because we have spirit. That is
Right.
our connecting force.
Right. So I don't know if this is necessarily a different question, but it's I'm trying to go somewhere with this what I'm asking. So what does it mean to be spiritual but not religious?
It is, I think, back to what I was saying, it is to have a connection with a greater force, um, and that you are one with the greater universe, and that you have an appreciation for your beauty and the miracle that you are.
Right.
I think that being I think that practicing religion is an access point to spirituality, and I'm not saying that religion is bad by any means. That's not what I want to put out there. Um, I think that it is an access. It's a doorway to spirituality, and so I think that um, being spiritually strong and being spiritually healthy, can happen outside of religion, and does, regularly. I don't think that you have to practice in I think that I think religion offers community for spirituality and a common ground for spirituality, and can be healthy. And I think there's, like anything where humans get involved, there can be an over exaggeration and an overemphasis on rules and dogma. And no, that's not spirituality. No, you can't do it. That's where I start getting, right. Like, my spirit is mine, my essence is
Right.
mine, right? And
Right.
how I decide to, present and practice and access that spirit, is mine to decide. So
Okay. So yeah, so in asking that, I asked because, you know, in part, I don't know if religion is something that the world's shying away from these days, but I had maybe since last year, right? This is my second year doing the podcast. So let's say this is episode 66. I probably had only maybe 5 people, and that might be even pushing it, that said they was religious. And most other people said, well, everybody else said they were spiritual. Now, some people say you can't be spiritual without being religious, right? That's the way some people look at it. So a lot of people, I read into somebody like a couple weeks ago, and they asked me if I was spiritual, and I was like, well, you got to define that, because I would like to say that I'm spiritual in the sense that, like, I don't believe in like the Bible as it's depicted, but I believe in a higher power. um in essence, a God, right? I believe in
Mhm.
God,
Mhm.
but I just don't believe in the church and all that. So I just don't believe in it. So the person said, well, you're not spiritual then. So then I was like, well, I guess I'm not. But some people will say that I am, because there is this curiosity piece. Remember you said that you studied different religions?
Mhm.
Well, so have I. Like, 'cause it's a curiosity thing. It's more so like, for me, a lot of it is, I like to be able to hold my own in any conversation.
Mhm.
So religion is one of those topics that people shy away from, and a lot of people like to talk about. So in order to hold my own, I have to do some kind of research of my own. So I said I would never touch a Bible. I would never own the Bible, but I have a Bible that I bought last year, and I had episodes just talking about religion,
Mhm.
and I studied the book and come up with my own conclusion, my own interpretation, and I conversed with other people that's religious or spiritual, and we had conversations. And so that's one of those things where the water get a little murky and muddy, is asking about religion versus spirituality.
Mhm.
So I would say I'm spiritual because, like you said, it's having that sense of purpose, it's having being with peace with yourself, about vibrations, because we all come from the ground, from the dust, however you want to put it, and that's how we go out. And in the Bible, not to get technical or nothing like that, they said Adam and Eve. Well, Adam was created by dust, and she was from from the rib. So we come from these from the ground, these earthly things, right? Like the nature. We come from nature and the environment. So a lot of people, like you said, Reiki, you mentioned that, meditation, that's all spirituality. You're dealing with the spirit and
Yeah.
becoming one with yourself, right? And when you're dealing with that space, it's spirituality to me. That's, you're dealing with your spirit. So
Yeah.
it depends on who we speaking to, how they
It
break that
does,
word
and
down.
it does, and I tend to, like, if someone tells me that they have that that according to them, I am not something, that's where I am, like, okay, and who are you to like,
Right.
out of all the humans on the planet, it's dropped into you. You have the deciding power to determine who I like my relate that just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't.
And that's one reason why I'm not religious, because religion should not be forced on anybody. And when you try to force it, it kind of makes them rebel against it, type of
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of people that say they religious and they commit the ultimate sins in life, but they point the finger at people for sinning.
Yep.
So it's a lot of things like that that just does not make sense to me. Just like you were just saying, like, who are you to judge me or point the finger or crucify me or play judge and jury when you got skeletons in the closet and you still got these demons that you're fighting? You know what I'm saying? So it
Yeah.
never made sense to me. But these are the things or core reasons why I am not religious.
Yeah.
My father used to try to bribe me. If you go to church X amount of times, I'll give you this. You know what I'm saying? And I did it, and then he still was like, "Oh, nah," because you wasn't enthusiastic, or it didn't come from your heart. I'm like, that
Right.
was not part of the deal. So growing up, it's just like, and then you see all these sinners, you see all these people in churches, and they got all the money, and because they doing crooked, underhanded things. It's like you grow up and you see these things, and on top of that, also when you go through all like childhood traumas and stuff, a lot of times people say, well, if there's a God, why is this happening to me? I got a good heart. So why is all this negativity coming my way? So in conjunction with everything else I was saying, I'm just not religious. But I would like to say, like I said, it's spiritual, right? Because as I get older, I believe in vibrations and things of that nature. It's frequencies and stuff. And I said this in a couple of podcasts where I have people that study Reiki and stuff. I was like, it's weird because you ever been in a room, you never seen this person, you don't know nothing about them. The hairs on your arm stand up. That's
That's
frequencies.
spirit.
That's
That's
that
spirit.
spirit.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you're like, oh nah, I don't want to. I don't want no parts of that. So that's why I'm starting to become more of a believer in these things. When people talk about vibrations and frequencies, that's where it comes
Well,
from. And we come from the
we
earth. It's just like magnets.
we believe in this shit. We
Yeah.
believe in this, what we're doing right now. What we're doing is energy. We believe in Wi-Fi, and we take, like, we use computer, but then we question the energy that we are all of this
Mm-hmm.
is energy.
Mm-hmm.
This is all vibrations. It's a
Yeah.
freaking
That's all it
miracle.
is.
It is.
That's it's like the sounds. They said sound waves is vibrations,
Yes.
and then we are creatures of habit, and we are who we surround ourselves with, right? I know you heard that before. So it's like if you are negative, that's the kind of attention and energy you're gonna get back. If you
Yeah.
produce negative energy, you're gonna receive negative energy. If you put out positive energy, you're gonna receive that back. So again, as we was just saying, it goes back to vibrations and frequencies, and all that. So it's one of these things that people they like, oh, I don't want to hear that. Sometimes you get older, and that's when you start to realize different things. So
Yeah.
that's that. So okay, let me ask you this: how do we grow spiritually?
By getting curious, by asking questions, and then listening, and not just listening with uh, nonchalance or commitment, but listening to understand, so that curiosity as a young person, when we're young, we're told to ask questions and to explore and figure things out, and um and it's about, as a young person, learning who we are. As we get older, curiosity plays such a critical role in figuring out who we are spiritually and mentally, because we have the ability, based on our lived experiences and the things that we've seen in our life, to discern and to take in information, to think about it in from our own point of view and according to our own value sets, and decide how we want to, perhaps or not, apply it in our own life. And so accessing our own spirit, I think, comes from, for me, it was, it's the what if question, and why, asking why are things the way that they are, and what if this isn't all that there is? What if I can feel better? What if that human over there is not who I think that they are, that I've passed judgment? Like the questions that you can ask and create connection and vibration around are endless. And it takes it takes bravery to ask questions. They might come out wrong. You might, oh my gosh, offend somebody with your question, about why. But there's always the ability to keep asking questions and to keep the connection going, right? I think in today's day and age, we are so scared that we're going to offend each other by wanting to know more. But in wanting to know more about Desmond, I have ended up on a podcast with him, right? And
Right.
we've had great connection. So spirituality and pursuing spiritual health comes from being curious and asking questions about your life, asking questions about where you've been, the experiences that you've had, why you react the way that you do, why do you have certain emotions given certain things, and the same, in a different setting, it makes you feel completely different. Like there's a curiosity that has to lead everything. And for me, that has gotten me up off the floor in really dark moments to say, What if there's more here? What if this isn't
Mm,
the end of this? And
mm,
and it's helped me pick up the phone and say, can you help me? Do you know something that I need to know? What can you share with me that will help me out of this?
right.
Curiosity leads everything, and I think it can lead to much to beautiful spiritual health and mental
I,
health and physical health and all of those parts. So,
I love that, and everything you just said is one of the main reasons why I wanted to write my own autobiography. Like for years, I've been saying I want to write this. I said I want to know why I think the way I think. I want to know why certain triggers trigger me. So that was the driving force for me to write this, and then I wanted to get to the core of my trauma, right? Because it's easy to sit there and say, well, it's because of this, because of that, but in writing this autobiography, I'll tell you one thing. It's some of the things I already know about myself or I've been talking about, but it forces me to dive deep,
mhm,
right? And to get to know myself on a deeper level.
yep.
And then I realized a lot more about myself. And then doing therapy, conversing these thought patterns and things of that nature with the therapist. And then we have this open dialogue like what you and I are having right now. And we're discussing these things. And they might be able to pinpoint certain things that I didn't pick up on. And that's the beauty of conversations. And that's why I say I love talking. I'm a big talker, and for a big part of my life, I talk so much. People used to have to tell me to shut up because I would not stop. Once I get that from my mom. My mom, everybody on my mom's side of the family, they call us motor mouths. So we'll just keep going. For real. Sometimes, even now, sometimes I'll be talking to people and I'm looking at them and then they look like they're uninterested or look like they fall asleep. And then I'm like, okay, I guess that's the end of that. But it's therapeutic. It's good for your soul,
It is. It
and a
is.
lot of people are afraid to do two things. They're afraid to ask questions, as you said, right? Especially when they're curious, they're afraid to ask questions, and they're afraid to get out there and talk about their feelings to people. And it's very important, which leads me to the next thing I want to talk about is mental health, right?
Mhm,
It's good for your mental health to be able to converse with other people.
mhm.
Um, but a question I wanted to ask you was, are mental health diagnoses getting too common nowadays?
Mm. My immediate answer is no. I I think that we have, as we learn and research and our understanding of the mind and the brain and the body and the interactivity that happens, um, I think that we are on the leading edge of just some fantastic discoveries about. I'm reading a book right now. It's an older book, but he's just re-released it. It's called "It Didn't Start with You," by Mark Wolin. How inherited family trauma shapes who we are and how to end the cycle. And some of the studies that they're doing now. Uh, so for a female, when my grandmother was pregnant with my mom, a woman's body only produces a certain number of eggs, and those eggs are produced in the womb and in your body. They are in your body when you are born. So when my grandmother was pregnant with my mother had what would become me in her body. And so the vibrations and the frequencies that have for generations from my grandmother to my mother to me, I was in some form of existence as far back as my grandmother being pregnant with my mom. So you can't tell me that the mental health that, so if my grandmother mothered my mother and the best way that she knew how, and my mother learned how to be a mother from her mother and then passed that on to me, and I'm now mothering my son in ways that I don't even realize, right, has been passed down from generations. That comes from research and from like vast quantities of just studying and being persistent with what is mental health, what are the ways that the mind interacts with the body, epigenetics. Why do we do what we do? No, I don't think that mental health diagnoses are too common. I think that there's a phrase called a strength overused becomes a weakness, right? I think, labels are fan-frickin-tastic. If I can, people that are realizing that they have, and especially middle-aged women are finding, like in menopause and in midlife, they're discovering ADHD. They're getting diagnosed with things that they've been struggling with their entire life, and it is a relief. It is an absolute relief to have answers when a diagnosis happens. Now, can that same diagnosis be used as a crutch? Absolutely. Everything can, right? Everything can be used in a way that isn't healthy. Just like a person can have a glass of wine and not be fazed by it, but the next person doesn't. It is overdone, right? I think that the human experience, we want to understand it. And I think diagnoses and research and studying and all of the efforts that we're putting behind making connections between our mind and our body and the universe are I think that it's fantastic. I think humans are fantastic that way. We're also really able to create a lot of damage with it as well. So it's like anything, it's a balance. So
I got you. Now I'm gonna get a little personal. I mean, personal, not in your life, but like speaking from my personal experience. All right. The one thing that I can't stand is when people act like mental health or mental health illnesses doesn't exist. I hate when people say, "Oh, you say you have a mental health issue," because it's really nothing more than a excuse. I hate that because we all deal with things and cope with things differently. I know last week I had an argument with somebody that told me that I am the same person I was 10 years ago, and I won't change, have not changed, and won't evolve or be prosperous. And I took offense to that because I am by far a different person than I was 10 years ago. It's my thought patterns have changed, my behaviors have changed, my discipline, my dedication has all changed. So for somebody to say I am the same person, it's highly offensive to me. And what I told this person was, that means you don't know who I am as a person. You have not taken the time out to understand me, to know me. And this person was a family member. I'll put it that way. And the reason why I disclosed that is when we talk about family, we think that family is supposed to know you more or better than anybody else, right? And that's why it was offensive to me. I'm like, how could you sit there and say that I am the same person? Like at work, my work ethic has changed. I wasn't a father 10 years ago.
right.
Well, I was, but this is so like let's say 12 years ago, I
Yeah.
wasn't a father. So that forced me to be more fatherly, more patient, more disciplined, and like I'm all about structure and everything. And so it's just so many dimensions to my change, and it has it's a big evolution. And for people to not see that, you know what it is. I was talking to my therapist, and we discussed this. I said I feel like the people that say they can't see the change are the people that's still fighting demons within themselves.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the reason why I say is because it's easy to project our feelings and emotions and our traumas and hardships on other people, right? And I take it back to the word work ethic. That speaks volumes of people's work ethic, and a lot of people don't agree when I say that. They're like, "Well, what are you talking about?" I'm like, okay, because it's easy for us to sit there and say, "Oh, you didn't this, you didn't do that." Well, if your life ain't where it need to be, who are you to judge? Who are you to criticize, right? So it takes work for you to empathize, and a lot of people are afraid of that word work, right? Once you learn that word empathy and how to empathize, then you should understand not only yourself but other people a little bit more. But it takes work. That's a
Mhm.
skill. That's a disciplined skill, right? And a lot of people is not disciplined enough to be able to have empathy, to have that understanding, to have compassion. That's why they project their feelings and emotions and their hardships on other people.
Mhm.
Once you put in the work, you look at life through a different lens,
Yeah.
and that's why I say, your work ethic must suck then, because especially if you're a parent. Right. What is that saying about your parenting skills? If you don't put in the work, the necessary work to understand this person that's supposed to be family, how are you as a father? How are you as a mother? Right. And that's how I look at it. Because just as well as you're supposed to be patient with them, you got to be patient with the world.
Yeah.
And that's one thing the world's lacking, that love, that continuity, that cohesion. Right. When we live free, like we said earlier, and we be happy and we don't worry about being judged. We don't worry about how we're perceived. We just live life comfortably and happily, then the world be at a better place, right? We always talk about world peace. It will never be world peace as long as we stay into this. What's the word you said? This box, right? We put ourselves in these boxes. If you're in a box, you can't escape from that box. You're stuck in there. That means you can evolve. So when we talk about being prosperous and evolving, how can you do that when you put yourself in a box?
Yeah.
So you have to take the lid off, live a little bit, breathe a little bit, and expand your horizons. Like that's why I say talking to people across the world is good. It's therapeutic. You get different perspectives, and that's how I look at things as far as that. So,
Yeah, I
you know,
love that. No, I love that share. Thank you. And I agree that, you know, we do. We project. Nothing that anybody does is about us anyway, right?
mm,
It's about their own reality and their own dreams that they are living, and we project. I that is how the human experience it works. We project our own reality on, what I need comes, and it should come first. I need to be able to meet my own needs. Understanding that what you do doesn't have anything to do with me, um, is something that does take a lot of unpacking. Not taking people personally, is easier said than done, but realizing that what someone does in creating judgment and what a person, according to their own value system and their own value set, thinks of me has nothing to do with me is one of the most freeing things that I've ever learned, right? That I'm good with me. I hope I'm changing. Every day I hope I'm changing. That means I'm evolving and becoming a better person. That
right,
means that I am working at who I am, and that I'm learning from my mistakes. Was it Maya Angelou? Like, when I know better, I do better. And
hmm,
thank goodness I have the ability to change every single day. I can recreate myself minute by minute by minute. I can apologize and do something different to be a better human. That's the miracle of us, right?
right,
Rabbits out in my front yard aren't like, oh shoot, I looked at the other rabbit wrong and now I got it. What? No, we
mm,
as in this human experience have the ability to live from a place of authenticity, and that authenticity has to change on a minute by minute basis. It just has to. Otherwise we're
right,
standing still and we're getting eaten by like, yeah. So
right. And if we standing still, we're not growing, right?
yeah.
And part of the word prosper is to evolve and to grow, like, and you just can't. So again, like yeah, I just think like a lot of people that pass judgment and stuff, they fighting their own demons and they got their skeletons in the closet. That's just what it boils down to for me. Because you know, like I said, growth is everything. I'm all about thought provoking conversations. And anything that's going to bring value into my life. Um, you know, I don't know. A lot of people let me ask you this. Um, do you think emotional support animals provide genuine benefit, or do you think people use that as like an excuse to have an animal?
Both.
Do you think it's okay? So
Both
you think
and
having an emotional
yeah,
support
like
animal
I think I've
helps with
known
your mental health?
people. I do. I have some very dear friends that have um, that have emotional support animals, and I have deep respect for them. And yeah, I think that there is absolutely a place. Do I think things get overused and abused? Absolutely. All of, every rule gets bent, every, like, but then going back to, like, it's not my business. Like,
Right.
good on them, right? Like,
Right.
if that makes you, if that is, that's up to you. That's not my business.
Got you.
I, I have felt the love of pets and of animals. We had two in the last, well, it's been a little longer now, but we had two puppy dogs die within a couple of months of each other, and our home went from being, just it has a different element with a furry animal that just loves you unconditionally and, wants to be, like, with you all the time, to having no one, having no animal. It's, the impact of our relationships with two four-leggeds and creepy crawlies and all of the, the different species that we invite into our lives for companionship. I think it's up to each of us to figure out. I do, yeah. So I would say both. I'd say people very much. I respect people for the need and with their emotional and mental and spiritual health, and then I think it's also abused. Yeah.
Got
So
you. Now, I got a good question. Is it okay to laugh during dark times, or do you
heck
think
yeah.
that's a sign to something unhealthy?
No, I think that if you can't, like, we have to be able to hold both. We
Mm,
have to be able to, there is no, the world wants us to be in black and white. It just does.
mm,
Choose this or this. You can't have both. But in
mm,
fact, I can be absolutely rocked with grief, and in the next moment have a memory pop up that gets me laughing to the point of exhaustion, that becomes a balm and becomes an answer to my grief. So the ability, the breadth of human emotion and our ability to hold all of it at one, and have perhaps what looks like dueling. You can't be sad and happy at this. Yes, I can.
mm,
And in fact, that's, happiness saves me from sadness. Not to
mm.
say, I think that sadness has a place for it, has a place in our life. I think grief has a place. We try so hard to get away from these deep, dark emotions, and we don't deal with them. And I think that that laughter and happiness and comedy and things that lift us up and out are critical to our mental health. So
Oh, okay. So you don't think so? Let's say something tragic happened, and then and somebody just laughing hysterically. You don't think that raises concern?
again, I go back to, for what's true for me. I don't know what's
Mm,
true for other people. Now, if I'm getting enjoyment, if I'm laughing because I'm enjoying the tragedy of something, then there's concern. I
yeah.
mean, that's a, yeah, I absolutely, there's a lack of empathy, there's a lack of awareness, there's deeper seated things going on there. If someone is laughing at another's misfortune or another's pain, then there is something that needs addressing there. More for me, I think that if I am in myself, because that's all I can really know, that if I am in a place of tragedy, and I am able to access my humor and I'm able to access joy, we are meant as humans to be in full love and full joy. And I think that's what gets us up and out and off the floor, and looking for more is accessing that joy. So I see what you're saying. No, I don't think that, folks laughing at other people's misfortunes is healthy in any way. No. That
No, I got you. Now, because I've seen people like, say for a significant other or a family member die, and then they cry hysterically, and then just start laughing hysterically at it. Like, and to me, the way I look at that is it's some kind of emotional break going on, which to me is concerning because, like, I mean, it makes that person unpredictable. I mean, I've known somebody that lost, a sibling like 2 weeks ago, and it was venting and they cried and they just started laughing so hard, like it was like they heard the funniest joke in the world, and then just caught me off guard. And I was like, I don't even know how to address this situation. Do I encourage this person to get some kind of professional help, or do I stay in my lane and just let them get it out? Because sometimes maybe that's what it is. And maybe it's about them getting it out the best way they know how to.
yeah,
But
yeah,
again, if they have the emotional break where they actually losing their mind, it's one of those things. Because one thing you don't want to do is assume. I've seen people do that too. They assume that this person got something crazy going on in their head, and they call authorities, and then that fracture their friendship or whatever, their relationship. So it's one of those things where you gotta tread lightly. So that's
yeah.
one of I asked you that. How early should teenagers receive mental health treatment?
I there's never, I mean, treatment, I guess I would qualify. What do you mean by treatment?
Well, I mean, maybe treatment is not the right word. Like mental health counseling or something like that, or guidance. Like, because I think because going from a teen to adulthood, I think it's a big step. That's where your world and everything in your life, as you know, is going to change. So I think that every teen, before they become an official adult, I think it should be some kind of mental health treatment, or at least mental health screening, right, to see where they are mentally. I mean, I think mental health check-ins should be daily, right? But I don't know.
I think it starts in the home, uh,
Mm,
first and foremost. I think that, mental, and spiritual and physical. I mean, I think it's whole body health. I don't think
mm,
like we take our kiddos in for checkups, right? We have our when after they're born, hopefully we're paying attention to their developmental needs, and we're watching how they're developing physically. I think it's just
mm,
as important to watch how they are developing mentally, and to know, which requires education and requires outside sources, resources, and whatnot. And a lot of that does happen in school, like, because we give our kiddos to school systems, and hope to gosh that they're supporting them in every way, shape, and form. So I don't think, like in preschool and in daycare, I think that there should be, just absolute there are ways that folks that are caretaking and taking care of young people, whether they're babies on up through teenagers, and as these young people are developing, that we are looking for ways to support them mentally, just like we're supporting them physically. I can't, just because I can't see an ailment like a broken arm doesn't mean that I shouldn't be treating it with respect and with seriousness. Um,
right.
I think we're getting better at that. I think there's a fight against, not doing it, that says, that we're doing too much. But I think there's a balance between home and what we're doing at home to support our kiddos mentally as much as physically. And there's a partnership that happens with those other folks that we bring into our kiddos' lives that are taking care. It's not it shouldn't be a battle by any means. I think that the good of the children and the good of our young folks should be the basis of everything. It shouldn't be a competition about who gets to do what when.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay, I got you. So, anything else you want to add as far as spiritual or mental health before we close out?
Gosh, I have loved this conversation, and I know I appreciate just, the opportunity to mental and spiritual health isn't something that a lot of folks like to talk about. It's uncomfortable. It makes us reflect on ourselves. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a fantastic thing, to take inventory. And, self-awareness is like at the basis of everything. Being self-aware allows us to manage ourselves, and being able to manage ourselves allows us to go out into social situations and be aware, and to then have relationships. And when we can have conversation and raise awareness about what it means to be mentally and spiritually healthy, I think we're doing the world a service. So I really appreciate the chance to visit with you and make a new friend. And just really appreciate you, Desmond.
I appreciate you as well. Now, your podcast, is it virtual or just audio?
It's both. It's both. Yeah. I tend to do like you do. I go live, and then I upload the audio
That's what I gotta start doing. I gotta extract the audio and put it on Spotify. Every week I say I'm gonna do it. I haven't done it. So, matter of fact, as we speak, let me just write that down now.
Yep, do it. Your book needs some attention today, and you need to figure out how to get your audio. Yep, I encourage that.
That's crazy. I know how to get the audio. It's just I don't know. I'm always on the go. I'm always trying to do this, trying to do that, and I have a whole planner. Like I look at it and I'm like, all right, I did this, accomplished, boom, check it off. And I do this. Sometimes my list is just way too long, so now I'm jumping all over the place. It's sort of like the book. I might be like, oh, I'll do the first 3 up here, then way down here until the things in between falls to the wayside. And that's all it is. I put too much on my plate a lot of times. I'm always on the go, and it's almost like I got ADHD. It's like, but I don't. But as far as being active, that's how it seems. I like to do things. I don't like to just sit around and do nothing, because a week could go by and you're like, dang, what did I do this week? Nothing. I just sat around. I just can't live like that. I like accomplishments. I like to feel accomplished, and the smile I put on my face when I succeed at something. So that's what I chase. And when I succeed, that's when I feel high. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me. But all right. Like I said, it's been a pleasure, and I don't know if you have guests on your podcast or you just do solo missions.
I would love to have you on. Yeah,
So I'm all about networking and doing cross promotions and stuff. So all right. We definitely can stay in touch and talk about that. But that's going to conclude today's episode. We hope everybody that's watched it enjoyed it, and if you haven't had the chance to watch it live, you watch the replay. It's always up on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, subscribe and continue to like, share, and comment. And until next time, have a blessed day.
Thank you.
All right, Natalie, have a good one.
You too.